Okay.
Alrighty, attention in the pits. All racers, report to the staging lanes. The show's about to start.
Now we're live.
All right. I was talking to myself, apparently. Good evening, everybody. We'll wait for a few more guys to get on here, and then we'll go ahead and start talking about what we're going to talk about tonight. But it's good to see. We got Tim and Jeff, and who did you say the other guy was?
Blue Yak.
Blue Yak. I don't know who that is. Maybe he can tell me who he is.
He says he's first, so
Yeah.
I'll take his
awesome.
word for it. Or maybe this is his first time watching.
Oh, it could be the first time watching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if it is, welcome.
I don't think the fan's drowning out the mics. I was just looking to see if they were.
Oh, you want me to turn the
And-
fan off? I can do that real quick.
No, I think we're good.
All right. Now the guys will tell us if they
Yep.
can't hear us.
Yeah, well,
So-
we have Jeannie Willingham, Randy French, and Mark Timmer.
I wonder if Jeannie went to the beach with Phil.
Well. Oh, okay. So Blue Yak, he has the turbo overhead KM6 Austri.
Okay.
Austri or Austri?
I don't know what, Astra?
Astra.
Yeah.
Astra.
If it's,
I'm sorry. I don't know that. I'm not very familiar with that car.
Like a shooting star. You know, I don't
Well, I mean, from the looks of it, they look like Vega.
It is. It's just like a Vega, except for
Okay.
it's a Pontiac.
Gotcha.
Yep. But same car. I think it even has same taillights, but it got a different grill in it.
Gotcha.
Well, hey guys, welcome aboard. Thank you for coming tonight. We're going to discuss valve train geometry. I'm going to go briefly over that real quick, and then we'll.
Mark Marshall saying we are a little dark, so I will fix that right now. I
I
adjusted the cameras; it was bright out. So.
Oh, okay. So you got to change the ICO on it or something?
Yeah.
All
So
right.
while you're talking.
So anyhow, what we're going to do is we're going to go over tonight valve train geometry and briefly how to check that real quick, and then why it's important that after you get the valve train geometry right, you need to make certain that the push rods are clearing the push rod holes. So as soon as he gets done changing the ISO on the camera here, so you guys can see us a little better. We got the sun coming down behind us, and it's probably messing with that camera. Right now, it looks like pitch blackout. I don't know if they can still hear me or not, but I can't see them, and they can't see me. There we go. That's a little better. So, yep, that's better. More better. Oh, don't fall down.
Okay.
Yeah. My son cleaned up his garage. Looks nice in here.
Oh, I gotta get rid of that crap. Hold on.
What do you get? What are you getting rid of? Oh, the auto thing at the bottom. That made it worse. Now you got all kinds of stuff on there. Oh, there it goes.
There we go. I was gonna say that button. I know where it's at, and it's a simple fix.
Excuse me. All right. So anyhow, back at it here, and so geometry is critical that you check that with especially a new build. Now, factory engine, if it's already been together and you're using all the stock parts over again, you don't have to worry about it. But whenever you're building a new engine and you're using a different cam, the reason that all this stuff makes a difference is because the camshaft manufacturer may have a smaller base circle, which is the bottom part or the heel side of the camshaft, as opposed to like a factory camshaft. Another thing that'll affect it is the lifter, the cup inside the lifter where the pushrod rides. That can be a different height, so that's going to affect your geometry. The other thing that will affect your geometry is if you change the valve length in the cylinder head. If you put a longer valve or a shorter valve, that's going to make the geometry different. The other thing is if you deck your block and if you mill the cylinder heads, all these things stack up and they make a difference. And so you can't assume when you build a new combo that your factory push rods are going to be the right length. And I see a lot of guys do that, and we have to fix that when we get their engines in our shop. And so that needs to be determined before you do your push rod clearancing. And I have not seen any cylinder head, whether it be factory iron head or an aftermarket aluminum head of any kind, that does not need the push rod holes clearanced in some manner if you get the geometry right with aftermarket parts. And so critical part of that saying right there, or sentence, is the fact that you're using aftermarket parts, and that affects it. So you have to check your geometry. And it's a pretty simple process, and basically what you're wanting to do is you want that roller tip on the rocker arm, or if it's a regular rocker arm, you want that tip to be pretty much as close to dead center on the top of the valve as you can get it. And you have to check it through a full rotation. I go through twice, and you put Prussian blue, or you can use a black magic marker, anything to put something on the top of the valve so that whenever you rotate it over, it rubs that away and you can see exactly where your pattern is on the valve stem.
So what if it's not right? How do you adjust it?
Well, you have to, so if you're using a stud-mounted rocker, which most of you guys are going to use, the difference between a stud-mounted rocker and a shaft-mounted rocker is shaft-mounted rocker on a stand has got a shaft that goes through the rocker arm and bolts to that stand. That's a shaft rocker. A stud-mounted rocker, as it's stated, the stud sticks up, the rocker slides down over it, and you got an adjustable nut. Well, the factory Pontiac engines do not have an adjustable nut. They're torque to spec. So, and again, this is why you have to check your geometry. We don't ever use the factory style nut and rocker stud, mostly because the stuff that we're building is mild performance to race. And when you're doing that, of course, you're going to use stronger valve springs, and the bottleneck studs in the factory heads, they bust off, so you have to put a 7/16 stud in there. And then whenever you go to an aftermarket rocker, which we are 99% of the time doing with an aftermarket build, then you want to use an adjustable. They call it a poly lock, and what a poly lock is basically a shouldered nut that has an Allen set screw in the top of it. And once you get the rocker adjusted where you want it at, you tighten that set screw up, and it holds it in its position. So there's no torquing it. You just have to set the set screw, or torque the set screw so it doesn't move. And we're gonna, you know what we'll do is my son and I, we're gonna put together, we'll do a video podcast on showing you how we adjust rockers in the engine.
I tell you one thing, we do use the factory nuts and the little ball washer thingies for when we don't like someone, we throw them at them. Oh,
well, I haven't done that, but maybe you do that. I don't know.
Oh no, those are rocks.
I throw them, but I throw them in the trash can. Oh. I don't throw them at anybody.
Gotcha. Nope. Which rocker do you like for a little higher RPM?
I have always used Harlan Sharps, and there's a whole bunch of different manufacturers out there, but Harlan Sharp actually fits the Pontiac cylinder head very, very well. They got their geometry worked out perfect. The Scorpion rocker, it's a shorter body. It looks to me like it's a small block Chevy rocker that they made work for a Pontiac. The Comp Cams is kind of the same way. It's a shorter rocker. And so that brings up the point of what we're going to talk about tonight with that push rod hitting the edge of the push rod hole. Because you got that shorter body, what ends up happening is the push rod cup starts moving towards the rocker stud, okay? Well, you can see what's going to happen there. You know, the closer you get that to the pinion in the rocker arm, the closer it's going to get to that edge of the push rod hole down here. And that's why it's critical, absolutely critical, you check every engine you put together to make sure that you got enough clearance. And if you don't, what'll happen is it will flex the top of the push rod. It'll run, but it's going to flex the push rod every time it comes down, and eventually it's going to bust the push rod off or wear the side of it out, and it's going to show up. You'll find it eventually.
Do you use stud girdles?
I don't like stud girdles. You know what? I've had too many busted rocker studs, and if you get online or you talk to anybody that's run a stud girdle, they'll tell you they break rocker studs all the time. Now, you would think with a stud girdle, it's supposed to keep it from doing that. That's what it's designed to do. But the problem with it is you got tolerances that stack up, okay? And so what that means is that when you look down line of sight on the rocker studs in the cylinder head, you might have one that's off just about 5 thousandths this way. You might have another one off 5 thousandths this way. Well, you stack those together, that's 10 thousandths offset, okay? And when you put that stud girdle on there, and then it might even have some tolerance in it. It might be, the holes might be off just 4 or 5 thousandths going down through that line. And all that stuff stacks up, and then it puts the stud under stress, okay? And then whenever it's running, the engine's running, it's going to work that rocker stud because it's being stressed the wrong direction. And when it does, they bust off. I've seen it so many times. I don't like rocker stud girdles. I won't use them. And we make them for our Ram Air 5 heads because I got guys that want them. I don't personally use them. I don't like them. I would rather have a shaft rocker. And if you start doing the math and you buy a good rocker stud like an ARP, they're anywhere from $80 to $140 for a set of those now. You buy a good rocker arm like a Harlan Sharp roller rocker, you're talking $450 to $500 for the rockers. And then if you buy a stud girdle, you know, you're going to be spending about another, I've seen them as cheap as $200, but we'll say $300. So you got darn near $1,000 in valve train pieces. And the shaft rockers, it's been a while since I bought aluminum ones, so I can't, I'm just talking off of old school numbers, but they were only roughly around $1,600, $1,700 a set. Now I buy steel ones now instead of aluminum because a lot of our stuff is higher spring pressure, higher RPM, and driven on the street, so it's getting cycled a lot. So the aluminum rockers will break with a higher spring pressure, so we go with steel rockers, which are a little heavier. I get it, but the rocker part of it, the part that makes a difference on the weight, T&D scallops all that out and lights it up, and it's really not that much heavier than an aluminum rocker.
Crowler is $2,100 for stainless steel.
Yeah, see, and that's, to me, that's a smoking good deal. So for $1,000 more, you got peace of mind and no flex in your valve train. Now, for 90% of the guys that are building street cars, you don't need those. You know, if we use a hydraulic roller cam with around 650 thousandths lift or less, a stud mounted rocker's fine. I got guys racing with them 750 lift and never broke a rocker stud, and no stud girdles. Now, the guys I had that wanted a stud girdle, they're breaking rocker studs. So that tells you right there, the stud girdle, in my opinion, is not a good idea.
Philip Third said he had noticed fewer engines not using stud girdles anymore. This may be why.
It's just not a good idea, especially if you look at I call them porcupine engines, like a big block Chevy or a big block Ford, and they got the staggered rocker studs and everything. To me, you're just asking for trouble. I just don't think it's a good idea.
And then Walt Muka said that he uses Crowler Steel 165 on present build, and they're pricey. And that's all he said.
Yeah, but you know what? They might be a little pricey, but they're in my opinion, they're worth buying the steel. Now, for the turbo guys or a supercharged guy, even even the nitrous guys, I mean, for that matter, you're building a lot of cylinder pressure. Definitely, you need to run a steel rocker arm, not an aluminum rocker, and that way you prevent any kind of failure with your rocker arms. And it does add a little weight to your valve train, but you know, you can make up for it with a little bit better or a little more spring pressure. But so what happens whenever the reason that your push rod gets so close to the push rod hole is how the rocker works and how the ratio works is your distance from the center of the trunnion or the pivot point from the center of that to the tip and the center of that to the push rod cup determines your ratio. So this, we'll use a 1.5 ratio rocker. The distance from the center to the tip is 1.5 times what the distance is to the push rod. And how they adjust that, now on the tip side, you can't really move that in and out. So that rocker is designed for that cylinder head. So that can't change. It has to stay the same. So the only way they can increase the rocker ratio is they can move the cup side. And what you're going to do to increase the ratio, you're going to move it closer to the trunnion. And when you do that, of course, it's getting closer to the edge of the push rod hole. And that's why you have to clearance the push rod hole if you use like a 1.65 rocker or anything other than a 1.5. The heads are pretty much designed for a 1.5 ratio. But when you go to a 1.65 or 1.7, 1.85, blah, 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 it doesn't matter what it is. It keeps moving that push rod in, and it's getting closer and closer to that push rod hole.
Will spring harmonics affect the stud girdles? Say a spring hates the RPM of 5,500. Will the harmonics throw it through a lot more vibration?
That is a fact. I mean, the valve spring. If you ever watch a video on YouTube of the Spintron stuff that they do, it's amazing to me. Actually, what's even more amazing to me, watch one of them videos one time and watch the valve stem. It's doing this. It's not going straight up and down. It's moving all over the place. But when you take the engine apart and you look at the wear pattern on the tip, I don't see it. The only thing I do see, and we're getting into another topic right now, but we can discuss it for a minute. But one of the things I do see is if the valve springs are not able to control the cam lobe or the harmonics in the valve train, what'll happen is it will spin. And when it spins, you're going to see that in the seat cup. You'll see where it's been spinning, or you're going to see it on the valve stem tip. And typically, when you take an engine apart that's got a good valve spring and everything's matched up the way it should be, when you tear it apart, you can see the wear pattern in one direction only. But if you have it where it looks like it's going this way all the time, then your valve spring is not controlling your valve train.
Philip Third asks, do you know of any faults with extruded aluminum rockers?
I mean, in my shop, I've seen so many broken rocker arms that are other than Harlan Sharp. Honest to God, and knock on wood, because I use Harlan Sharp solely mostly, is I've never seen a broken Harlan Sharp rocker arm, stud-mounted rocker arm. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't break. I'm not saying that. But I've never seen one for the Pontiac engines in my shop. Now, Harlan Sharp, I had them do me some aluminum rockers for my Ram Air 5 stuff, and we had some of those break, but it was because the lift and the spring pressure that we were running. And what we found with my Ram Air 5 heads, because the valve train's so good on it, the geometry is so good on those heads, we're reducing the spring pressure radically on those heads now. We started out at 280 on the seat. We're clear down to 190 on the seat right now, and I think I can even go lighter than that. And that's huge because that frees up horsepower, and if it saves a lot of wear and tear on your rocker arms and push rods. So, but to answer the question, I've got a ton of broken Scorpions, a ton of broken comp cams. I've got, see, what other ones have I had in the shop that break? We've had a couple. There's a couple other ones too, and and I don't know why. I think it's because that short rocker body. I think it just puts the rocker on under too much stress, where the Harlan Sharp rocker body's a little bit longer and wider, and so it's more durable. It's got more material to support it.
Old School Twist said, did you see the Powell machine video with the cheap Chinesium valve spring and bent push rods?
I think I did on the LS stuff, and Brian Tooley Racing went through some of that crap too. The Chinese are really good at making boxes look like your the original manufacturers and putting their junk in them. And Brian Tooley, he had a fit with that because a Chinese company was using his boxes, not necessarily his, but labels of his boxes, and selling their Chinese junk in them. And he was getting all these back, and then when he started testing them and finding metallurgy and everything, he said, these aren't my parts. But the box looked like his box, and everything looked like it was legit, but it was Chinese, and I don't know how he found out about that. But I do know that that was happening, and then that happened again, too. I think it was Speedmaster was doing that with some stuff, too. And so, yeah, you got to be careful out there, guys. I bought some fuel injectors off of eBay, and I thought they were original AC Delcos. I bought them for my Suburban, and you know, you buy brand new parts, you don't suspect them, especially if it's an AC Delco. And I put them in my Suburban. It would not start when it was hot, and I fought and fought and fought. I took the injectors out and I sent them to have them pressure tested and flowed. And everything tested okay. I put them back in finally, and I replaced everything. I mean, I replaced everything: the coolant temp, the map sensor, the manifold air pressure, everything. I replaced every freaking thing, or manifold airflow sensor, everything that they told you that could cause that problem. And finally, I just got pissed off, and I pulled those injectors out and bought some brand new ones from GM, which were double the price that I paid for the ones on eBay. Which should have been a good indicator for me. But I didn't check them at the GM dealership. I just bought them off of eBay because it seems AC Delco. I didn't actually shop for a price. I just was looking for AC Delco part. That's what I wanted to put back in my truck. Well, lo and behold, I went to the dealer after all that, bought brand new ones again, and then you could actually physically see the difference between the Chinese fuel injector that said AC Delco on it. Actually, it said Delphi, I think. They copy it right down to the T. But anyhow, put the new injectors in my Suburban. Now it's been fine ever since.
Perry said he had roller failure tip on his first set of Harlan Sharps years ago.
Yeah, I've never had a tip fail on a Harlan Sharp.
Now, we have seen some anomalies with Harlan Sharp with the, sometimes they don't drill the oil holes.
Yeah, every once in a while you'll see something like that.
Yeah, but it's not
nothing major.
No.
And that's why we check every part when it comes out of the package. I mean, you can't just take it out of the package and put it on. You have to look at everything, physically inspect everything about it, and measure. And I mean, you just got to check it. You can't assume, because when you assume, that's when you get in trouble.
And then Walt Muka wants to know, are those springs beehives?
The ones that Powell were talking about, I think, were beehives.
And then Philip Thurst says, buy Phil and Dave rockers.
Phil and Dave.
Yep.
Never heard of them.
No, neither have I.
Yeah.
Counterfeits.
No. Okay.
Old School Twist said, Speedmaster did it to the one guy's valve bodies. I have the injector thing happen to me, but did not use them. Yeah.
It's bad. The Chinese stuff is terrible. Now, I did learn that the AC Delco packaging from the Chinese, and I did notice this, but I didn't think nothing of it. The ink is a different, it's red and blue, but it's lighter. It's not dark like AC Delco is.
And then DJ said, should have went just with some injector dynamics. 750, you would have been okay.
Well, for an everyday driver, I don't need an injector like that. It was That was for my Suburban, my daily driver, and I just wanted to get it running right. I rebuilt the engine. I wanted to put new injectors in it, so I bought new ones and thinking I was doing the right thing, and lo and behold, I was doing the wrong thing.
And then Perry said, to be honest, failed after 3 or 4 years of beating with a solid roller.
Well, that could happen to any part. It doesn't matter who the manufacturer is.
I forget the question I was going to ask you now. Yep, I can't remember.
But yeah, so I mean, you know, it's critical that you get the geometry proper first, and then after you get the geometry, then you go ahead and get your check your push rods and make sure they're clearing your cylinder head. And it doesn't matter if it's a factory head or an aftermarket head; that it's going to hit if the all the parts, you know, all those tolerances from all the different parts stack up, and it changes what the factory had designed it to be. It happens on my Ram Air 5 heads. I designed my Ram Air 5 head for a stud-mounted Harlan Sharp 1.65 ratio rocker, and they fit perfect as long as that's the rocker you use with a stud. If you use they have a 1/7 ratio, I learned, and if you use that, it's going to change the pushrod cup, and you got to check it. It's just the way it is.
And that was my question. Why would you want to go with a higher ratio?
To get more lift.
Okay.
So your lobe, how you figure the lift on your cam is you take the lobe lift, which is different than your gross lift at the valve. So your lobe lift might, I'm going to use simple numbers for simple math here. The lobe lift might be 400 thousandths, okay? And then you take that times your rocker ratio, which is 1.5, again, simple math, which gives you 600 thousandths lift at the valve, okay? And so a lot of guys get confused with that when they look at the cam cards. They'll say, well, my lift's only 363. Well, no, that's the lobe lift. That's not your valve lift. And you got to multiply that 363 times your rocker ratio, and that'll give you your valve lift.
Gotcha. And then Scott Case asked, have y'all ever used Yellow Terra
Yeah,
shaft rockers?
You know what? I haven't seen that stuff in a long, long time. That's Australian parts, and actually, they had a really nice part for a while. They wanted me to be a dealer here in the United States when they first came out, and they sent me a bunch of samples, and it was really good stuff. It was nice. It fit well. The quality looked really, really good. And then I think that company got in trouble somehow financially. I think they couldn't make it, probably because of the exchange rate in our money supply or what. I don't know. All I know is that they faded off for a while, but I think they're back now. Somebody bought them and brought the company back, but I haven't seen any of their stuff since they came back. But when I first seen it, and this is back in I want to say probably somewhere in the 90s. I want to say early mid 90s. That stuff looked really, really good.
And then Philip III asked, so tell us about the 2000 CFM thingy.
Phil, we're going to need 2 of those for your build. So anyway.
And Philip III said, thingy is the word Jeannie uses. And then Jeannie said, only little thingies.
Oh boy.
Well,
yep, I can relate.
We all feel you there. We have a 1.5 ratio.
You might. I got a 1-to-1 ratio.
I didn't know we can go smaller.
Yeah. So anyway, well, yeah. So what happens? You know what? Not to get off on that, answering Phil's question, but what we used to be able to buy, and I don't know if they're still available or not. You used to be able to buy like a 1.2 ratio rocker arm for flat tappet cam break-in. So instead of taking the inner spring out of the valve spring, you put those rockers on there because it's a lot easier to change rocker than it is to change a valve spring when it's on the engine. And that way it would take the lift away on the camshaft, and so it would reduce the spring pressure, and you could break in a flat tappet cam with them rockers. So you took them back off, put the ratio on that you wanted, readjust it, and run it again, you're good to go. But anyhow, back to Phil's question there. That is a beautiful, beautiful valve body, man. I tell you what, that thing, or not valve body, but throttle body. It's got 2¼ inch plates in it, and it flows a little over 2,000 CFM. And the reason I got that for the Ram Air 5 engine one I'm putting together right now is because we've seen such a horsepower drop on the one that we did for Two Guys Garage.
Yep.
That 1,000 CFM throttle body was restricting that engine big time. It was so bad it was pulling 5 inches of vacuum at only 6,300 RPM. We couldn't pull any higher than that because it just kept building vacuum, and it was really restricting the engine. I wish we would have had that 2,000 CFM throttle body on that engine, because it probably would have made another 50, 60 horsepower.
Philip Thurst said a 1-to-1 ratio can still mean 6x6. Well, you were right. You got to compare the 1-to-1 ratio to something.
Yep. Well, you know, so my nephew, because he used to always hang around the campfire with us when he was a kid, and I'm a jokester. I'm always goofing off. And so anyhow, we're all sitting around the campfire, and I'm telling everybody, I said, yeah, I got 6 inches. And everybody said, yeah, right, whatever. I said, yeah, I got 6 inches. Well, my nephew went in and told his teacher, because he was in like 3rd grade and he didn't know what that meant. Yep. So they called his mom and dad into class for the parent meeting, and they had to explain that. So Luke hooked me up.
Yeah. And also, my uncle's got 6 inches. He told me. He showed me
at the fire.
Yeah. Showed me at the fire.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep.
What kids will do to you. He might have even been younger than that. He might have been in 1st or 2nd grade. I don't even know.
Philip Thursday, he was 12 inches at birth.
I would bet you're a little longer than that. I know I was around 20.
Old School Twist said probably the internet trading partners that bought up all the performance companies bought Yellow Terra.
They might have. I don't know. Yellow Terra got bought up before those guys were coming around buying everything, though. It's been a few years ago Yellow Terra got bought up. And Yellow Terra's got nice balancers. They got nice rockers, shaft rocker systems. They were starting to do a cylinder head, an Australian cylinder head, too. And that company, I haven't heard anything more about them guys either. They were making killer small block Chevy heads before we had them here. And then Brodix started copying their stuff, and I don't know if they're still around or not. But yeah. So, Phil, how was the trip to the beach?
Yeah, Phil.
You're being kind of hush hush about that, and I thought you were with a lady friend.
Well, he did post a video for me on
did.
YouTube.
Well, I didn't see it.
He got a new phone.
Yeah.
And he was watching us, talking about him getting lucky at the beach.
Oh, yeah, he was he?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, never mind. We're going to keep this clean show.
Since when?
You want another beer?
Nope. Any updates on the new heads?
Yes, I'm going to probably do a podcast on that, but to show everybody the changes I made. But my tooling maker, God love him, he must have been watching the show last week, and he's on it. So he contacted me last week, and the tooling changes are being made as we speak.
The button to take a picture.
Okay. And so anyways.
Push it a little harder. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
There, we're back. But anyway, Deke, thank you for staying on that, sir. I appreciate that deeply. But anyways, we're getting the changes made to the tooling that I want to have done, and I'm going to go over all that with you guys once we get it all straightened out. And then we're going to get some more castings made. which I don't know how long all this is going to take. So I'm going to guess maybe another 6 to 8 weeks, but I'm guessing. I don't know this because every time I guess, I'm wrong. But anyway, we're going to get some more castings made, get those machined, and make sure that all my changes are where they need to be. And then once we do that, and I like what I see, I think we're going to be ready for taking orders. And so how this is going to work, guys, is, you know, obviously once I get all that straightened out and the foundry's happy with the tooling and everything's working the way it's supposed to, you know, it's going to be X amount of weeks after I start taking orders, because it's going to take the foundry time to do the castings. It's going to take the machine shop, the CNC machine shop, time to do the machining. And then it's going to take me time to get the valve seats and guides and the valve jobs and put all the parts in them and get them ready to ship. So a realistic timeline for this
is Pontiac Nationals next year.
Is no, it better not be. I will not be happy. I've been working on this project, guys, 7 years. So, you know, I get guys who get upset with me that I've had their engine for a year and a half. I tell them, say, you know what? That ain't nothing. Why don't you deal with what I'm dealing with trying to make a new product? It's supposed to have been done. This is no kidding. This is what they told me whenever I put my money down, which is a substantial amount of money. Nothing what an engine costs, like maybe a whole lot more. I'm not going to say what. Anyways, you know, when I put my money down, they told me that it would be anywhere from 5 to 8 weeks. I would have drawings. Another 8 weeks, I would have the tooling. So we'll say I was giving them a year. I thought it would take a year to get to that point. And 7 years later, we're just now getting to the end. And it's not Deke's fault that's working with me now. It was I had to fire a company because they weren't doing their job. And it took me a little while to find the company I have now to finish it up for me. So anyways, that going back to the timeline thing, let's say that the foundry needs 4 to 6 weeks to get the castings done, and the machine shop. Now you guys got to remember too, I'm not their only customer. Just like my customers aren't my own. You know, I don't deal with just one customer. I deal with several customers. So what's going to happen is that
7.
Yeah, more than 7. But anyways, what's going to happen is I got to get back on their schedule. So just because it takes them 4 to 6 weeks to do my castings doesn't mean I'm going to get them in 4 to 6 weeks. It may take 4 weeks for them to get me back in the loop. And then then the machine shop, the same deal, same thing. It may take them 4 weeks to machine these things for me, depending on how many castings I get. And right now, because of the demand I'm having, I'm thinking we're going to have a lot. But anyways, again, it might, you know, what starts out at 4 to 6 weeks could turn into 8 to 12 weeks. I don't know. And that stacks up just like the valve train problem. You know what I mean? And so it could end up being, you know, 3-4 months after I take your money that I get the castings at my shop where I can actually start working on them. And so I'm just letting you guys know that, because I got a lot of guys wanting to send me money right now, and I thank you for that. But I'm not ready to take your money yet, because I don't need people calling me every week. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done? That slows me way, way down. I know you guys are anxious. I know you want to know what's going on. That's why I do it on the podcast. But if you're calling me all the time, I'm not working. And when I'm not working, I'm not getting it done. So just please have patience and understand the situation and how it works. Believe me, I want you guys to have these more than you want them, because I'm not making no money with this stuff right now. It's just cost me a shitload of money, and it took 7 years of my life to get here. So I'm anxious. Trust me, I'm anxious. I want to get these done, but it's going to take a minute before we get it all sorted out. And then once we get the ball rolling, somebody calls up, then hopefully I have heads on the shelf and we can ship them right away.
Perry says Xmas sale, boys. So Black Friday sale. You buy 2 T-shirts, you might get heads free.
He's buying.
Hey,
I heard him.
hey, if they fall off the back of the truck, I don't know what happened to them.
You're gonna fall off the back of the truck.
And then Philip Third said we need a running engine by Pontiac Nats next year.
Hey, you know what? Good news. That's another update I got to give you guys. I got my crank welded, and it looks beautiful. This guy did you can't even tell he welded this crank. It looks absolutely beautiful. Joe Bass donated a couple rods. Perry donated a connecting rod.
Nice.
And so I got a new piston. And I bought another cam. I'm going to change the camshaft out because the cam that I had in the engine was just one I had on the shelf, and I wanted to use it to get the engine done, but it wasn't really what I wanted in the engine. So I had one ground by Bullet, and we got a new cam. So now I'm going to be, the next step is I got to get the cylinder heads fixed. And once I do that, then we'll be putting this thing back together. I was hoping it would be before now, but I just picked the crank up last week. And we're out of racing season this year. It's done. Yep. In Ohio, they got the Halloween Classic, I think, this weekend, and then we're done.
Yep. We missed the IHRA at Darnia. Is that how you say it now? Darnia Raceway. It used to be Dragway 42 Raceway.
Yeah, I don't know how you say that,
but they had their big IHRA, I don't know, Nationals, something another. It was something Nationals.
Well, they're an IHRA sanctioned track now, which is awesome because the guy that owns IHRA bought 42.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. That's awesome.
It's very weird to see IHRA on TV and NHRA on TV because of, I will give NHRA credit. Whenever like a driver is needing the safety safari, they're on it. IHRA, not so much.
Well, let's hope they change that. Because you know what? When you're on fire, your ass is sitting in the fire, you want to get out.
Well, and that's what happened. The guy popped something, got the car off to the side of the road where I was watching, and he gets out and he's waving like this frantically for the people to get there. It still took another like 3 minutes before finally someone showed up.
Yeah, as soon as they see that car going out of shape, they should already be in the truck ready to go down the track.
And then just the rookie stuff, like because you know how NHRA, they're interviewing the drivers at the end of the track after a race,
right?
And they have it on the big screen. They got all, everyone knows. Well, this one's a little clunky. It's almost like me doing it.
Hopefully they get better at that.
So yeah, I mean, it was funny only because I know the struggle.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. You know
it is tough.
I mean, but they're doing that full time. You're doing this part time. This
right.
is not your gig for making money. This is just fun.
Right.
So
hopefully they do get straightened out, become more professional, and then that sport will really grow. But from what I've seen, I was like, oh man, these poor people.
Yeah. Don't crash.
Yeah, don't crash and don't do an interview because you might be waiting 10 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's okay. I don't mind that part of it. But if I'm on fire, I want somebody out there to get me out.
Well, you might be waiting 10 minutes for that too.
Well, whenever you blew up the engine in the Le Mans,
it took them forever to get down there too.
Well, and I came down around the other way because I knew they wouldn't let me go down the track. And then they chased me off the track. Yeah. I said, no, that's my son.
Right.
And I thought that the car was on fire. And then once I realized it wasn't on fire, and that guy chewed my ass, I said, okay, I get it. But if my son was in that car and it was on fire and you guys ain't getting him out, I'm going to get him out.
Yep.
So.
And luckily enough, I mean, I was out pretty quick. Once the smoke didn't go away, I was like, oh, I might be on fire. Got out pretty quick. But, yeah, that's a whole nother discussion with that guy.
So yeah, they kind of got shitty with me, but I didn't care.
Perry wants to know what will the heads approximately flow at 600 lift.
Well, I can almost tell you exactly, Perry, because we flowed the prototype head. And right now, with an 86% throat, and some of you guys that follow me all the time, you know what I'm talking about. And basically, for the guys that don't know what that is, the throat size is determined off of the diameter of the valve head size. So I'm running a 219 intake valve in these heads, and right now the throat size is 86. I think it's 86.5% of the 219. Whenever we're doing a higher end kind of build where we're trying to get more horsepower out of it, we'll run the throat at like 90, even up to 92%. So, but I wanted to do these at 87 or 86 because most of the heads that or guys that are going to buy these heads are going to run them on the street. And so we need that velocity underneath the valve at low lift so that we can build torque with the head. And so with that being said, a 219 valve, 86% throat, it flowed almost 320 CFM. And that was at 600 inches of lift.
Old school, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over Kyle Strong. On the Ram Air 5 head, I think you said that you have to downsize the exhaust valve for a 4150 bore. Is that the same story for the 4180?
With a 4180 bore, I made the head so it fits on a 4150 bore, okay? But because I moved the intake valve over so far, we had to move the exhaust valve out. And that's why we have to reduce the exhaust valve diameter to get it to fit in a 4150 bore. So if you're running them on a 4150 bore, we put a 165 to 167 exhaust valve in them, which is, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, guys. Believe it or not, that's okay. It works. Even with a 280 intake valve in the Ram Air 5 head, because if you split the cam up right, the engine doesn't know the difference. And I mean, look at a 6X head or an Edelbrock head. They have 166 exhaust valves in them. Now, obviously, when we do a performance build, we always put the 177s in them. But they, you know, they run very well with a 166 or, in my case, a 165 valve. You just got to chop up the cam so it complements the valve arrangement. But on a 4180 bore, you can go to like a 168 exhaust valve. If you go with the 4350 bore, we put a 174 or 175 valve in it.
Now we go old school twist. And what was the final cost of the crank?
So, to fix that crank, believe it or not, all the journals on that crank were good except for the one where we had the rod problem. He did not grind the whole crank. He only ground the one journal. That's all he ground. And so to mag the crank to make sure it wasn't cracked, to stress relieve the crank, weld the crank, and grind the one journal, and he did something else too.
Did he balance it again?
No, I didn't have to balance it. I might have got stress relieved twice. I don't remember now. But anyhow, there was a paragraph about that big on the bill, and I didn't think that it was terrible. It was $775. Now I know I could have bought a new crank for $1,100, but the problem is then you got to get it rebalanced, and so you add on the balancing and everything, you're talking $1,500–1,600. So it was roughly half what it would have cost me to buy another crank.
And then Philip Third said someone donated a diaper.
Yeah, you weren't here last week,
yeah.
Phil. So yeah, I was trying to put that diaper on, but it's not big enough.
Yeah, you didn't order an exercise big.
Yeah, no, you should have got me like a triple XL or something because it just wouldn't fit. I tried. I could have sat in it though.
Yeah. Rub it in, Philip III. He has the Southern Gassers on 1010 in Gulfport, MS, Missouri.
What are you talking about?
Philip III. These are track races that he has coming up.
Oh, you mean down where he's at?
Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
Well, Gulfport, Missouri must be pretty close to him.
Yeah.
And then
Misery.
then Bradenton opens. I thought Bradenton's already open.
They should be open all the time down there in Florida.
Oh, Mississippi. You're right, Mississippi. And then where was the next question? Oh, Perry said that's good. 325 out of the box. Some more with port work.
Oh yeah, for sure. I haven't got to play with the head at all, but when I designed the head, what I did was I made it so that we can do a wide port to it real easy. Okay, and I'm going to talk to Harlan Sharp because I want to get an offset rocker arm made so that we can move the push rod over about maybe 250 thousandths and make the intake port wider. And that way we can make a wide port out of it. And I added material over the roof so we can make it taller too. And so with a bigger port, and even if we stay with the 219 intake valve, I would think that we're probably going to be capable of getting real close to 400 CFM out of that head. If not, we can put like a 220, 2.223, a 2.23 intake valve, even up to a 2 1/4, and we got room there to do that. Then we definitely, I think, will get 400 CFM out of that head. Now, keep in mind, though, guys, I did not design this cylinder head to do that with. This is not a race head. It is a street head, and it's designed for a street car, but it has flexibility, just like the Edelbrock heads, that you can get more CFM out of them, and you can make more horsepower. But I am not going to make the head off the shelf that way. If you want to do it that way, you're going to have to either custom order the set, or you're going to have to have somebody else port them, or whatever you want to do. I don't care. But the bottom line is I'm offering this for a direct replacement for the Pontiac community. And I'm hoping because it flows 320 CFM, and we confirmed that on my flow bench. So I know that it does that at an 86% throat. So it's going to go up with a bigger throat. We do like an 89% or 90% throat. We're probably in the 330 to 340 range CFM wise. This head, as cast, no port work, and stock pushrod location, should be capable somewhere around 600 horsepower on pump gas. And that's the whole goal.
So Old School Twist said, so streetcar with 35 pounds of boost. Got it. And then Walt Muka asked, what is the head overall average head port velocity, FPS speed?
That I don't know. We didn't get that far yet. But it has to be darn good if it's flowing 320 at 600 inches of lift. That tells you a lot right there. And it was moving a lot of air down low, too. I don't remember what the 200 and 300 numbers. I got all that wrote down because I want to share that with you guys one night on a podcast. I just, tonight wasn't the night, obviously, but I do have all that data. And you know what? I took a picture of the flow sheet on my phone, actually.
What does it flow at 400?
I don't know. We're going to find out here in a minute. Why you guys got so many questions?
And no, we are not set up for viewers' rides. I actually had to, because I got out of work late, and I had to set up a small production for tonight's podcast. We are down to one little table, because I had to clean everything up to start working on my Firebird, and I was going to set it all up, and yeah, I didn't get out of work in time, and well, we're operating off of a 3-foot table right now. Normally I have a 6-foot table, so.
All right, so yeah, 86% throat. And I lied to you guys. I'm sorry. I was thinking something else. So anyhow, at 400 they flow 262, almost 263. At 600 they flow 298. So we're going to call it 300 CFM. And that's with a 219 intake valve and an 86% throat. So my thought process was is if we do like an 89% throat, which is the common industry common, it'll probably flow 320 at 600 inches of lift. But still darn good flowing head. And that was my first crack at it too. We valve jobbed it real quick. We just used the valve job that we use for a lot of our Edelbrock stuff on my head. It may not like that valve job. I don't know yet. So there's a lot of unknowns, but I wanted to flow it real quick before I took it back up to the tooling maker, because after I took it up there, I was leaving it with him. I wasn't going to bring it back because he needed to take reference off of, and I wanted to do it before that, and I literally did it the night before I took it up there, which he's in New York and I'm in Ohio, so it's not like I can drive 15 minutes and go grab it back.
John wants to, how about viewers' piles of parts?
Well, you know what? We ought to start a swap meet page where people can sell parts.
Well, we could.
That's a good
idea. We need to start a Facebook page.
If we can do the, for what?
For the podcast. That way we can put the that on that then.
Well, I have DCI Unleashed on there. How do we make it a podcast?
I'll have to look.
So, I mean, because it asked me whenever I do the podcast, I set it up for tonight. It asked me if it's Facebook and YouTube.
Walt says need the velocity at 290 to 300 FPS overall.
Yeah, I like I said, we didn't get to do any. And there's formulas you can actually do that with. You don't even need to probe it. Stan, what the heck's Stan's last name? Old School Twist, or Brian from B&R Racing, he probably knows. Stan, I want to say Atkins, but it ain't Atkins. Anyhow, he has a lot of that data on his website, and he must be a Pontiac guy because he got a lot of Pontiac stuff on there. And then he's got a formula that tells you how many feet per second the port is moving if you can give him the lift and the CFM and the valve size.
And John Norbush wants to know, did you test it at higher than 600?
Yeah, it's right now without a valve in it, it flows 305, and with the valve in it, it actually flows more, which is good. That's a real good sign that the port shape is right. I think it flowed at 700. It flowed 307 or 308.
And then JoJo asked, opinion on Subarus.
Uh-oh. I don't know nothing about Subarus, but I'll try and answer.
And then John Monin says he has a lot of stock rockers and 3/8 press-in studs for sale. He'll make you a deal.
Yeah, I got a barn full of that stuff. I'll make you a package deal.
And then Philip Tom Bopp said, Perry sold me some parts. Thanks again for making the channel to allow us to connect.
Yeah, that's totally awesome, guys. So yeah, so we might do a swap meet thing. You know what? Where we, where guys can post parts that they want to sell or trade, or ask for parts that they're looking for, something like that.
And then Walt Muka says Weiss.
Yeah, Stan Weiss. That's the guy's name. Yep, you're right. Absolutely.
And then John Monin said they're great in the snow.
What, studs?
No, Subarus.
Oh. I thought he was talking about studded snow tires. But yeah, no, Subarus, I don't know anything about those. I do have a customer wanting me to do a Subaru head. I guess them heads that they have a lot of problems with, and they're big money to get them replaced.
Yeah, they warp a lot.
I don't know. I don't know what the problems are, because I'm not a Subaru guy, but...
I know the Impreza WRX, I think it is. I always wanted one of those because they made them look so cool when they race them.
You've been watching too many Ken Block shows.
Well, yeah, he makes it look cool.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have a Subaru, though. What's he got? What's that little car he used to run?
Oh, he had a Ford Fiesta,
Yeah, that's what it was.
and they had a Mustang, and he had a Subaru.
Did he?
Mm-hmm. He also did a truck.
Ken Block died or got killed, didn't he?
He died in a snowmobile accident.
Yeah. That sucks.
And then,
That's what happens when you live on the edge.
yeah. BNR Racing said Subaru is one of the most reliable new cars you can buy now.
Really? I don't work on everyday stuff anymore, so I don't know what's good anymore. I buy GM because when I worked on cars, or everyday cars, they were the best. That and Toyotas, believe it or not. I had customers of Toyota Camrys back in the 90s that had 300,000 miles on them.
And then Walt Muka says may flow more with a smaller valve like a 2170.
I don't know if it will or not. I think the biggest factor right now is the throat size. I kept it real conservative because I didn't want to exaggerate the numbers. I just wanted to see what they were going to be. And the other thing is, too, we wanted to keep the velocity up so that we can, if you want to use them on a 400 cubic inch engine with 9-to-1 compression, which I don't know why you'd do that with aluminum head, but if you did, it would still make good torque.
It's a Boxer engine and Boxer self-destruct. I would buy a new diesel pickup first, BNR Racing said. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I don't know. Definitely don't go with Ford diesel right now because they're having a lot of issues, recalls on theirs. But GM's not too far behind them with their recalls on their diesel engines right now, too. So.
Everybody's having trouble right now. I think what's going on is these manufacturers were going overseas to get their parts, and I think it's biting them all in the ass right now because they're having lifter failures. They're having, part of GM's problem with the bearing failures, their dumbasses using 0.8 oil. And so there's just a lot of things going on right now.
Well, I know that the big thing with diesel on GM anyway is the diff fluid. That whole system is making them really bad.
Oh, you mean the DEF fluid?
Yeah, DEF fluid, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, DEF.
And
well, I think that's going to get eliminated. I think that they're passing a bill in Congress that they're going to get rid of all that emissions bullshit and let the manufacturers, get rid of it, make money, and make power with these things again.
And the 6.7 is a workhorse until they're not a workhorse. There's two guys that I know that are having big issues with their 6.7s right now.
Huh. I'm not a diesel guy, so I don't know. DJ's on, he'll tell you.
Well, that's who he said he'd rather have a 6.7 Power Stroke.
Yeah, I don't know. I got that Duramax and that big C4500 I got, and that engine's been okay. Had an injector problem, but that is, that can happen to any engine.
And then Joe Bass said, what CC chambers are you going to offer on the new heads?
Right now, they're going to be 75 and 85 CC. And I made the decks thick enough on them that we can probably get 65 if you wanted to. And then if you want to make them bigger, then of course you have to hand massage the chambers a little bit. Now we're going to CNC the chambers. All the chambers will be CNC'd. They're not going to, I'm casting a chamber in this head where the Ram Air 5, there is no chamber. It actually has to be machined into the head. These heads actually have a chamber already. And then we go over it with a CNC or an end mill, and then that way all the chambers are exactly the same, just like the factory did. The factory machined every chamber, not like Chevy or Ford where they cast them. Pontiac actually machined them all.
See, I'd rather have a 6.2 liter Chevy gasoline engine. That way I can work on it. I don't know anything about diesels.
Not me, man. I want a good old-fashioned Pontiac 389 or 421.
If I can get the fuel injection system to work on a good, Pontiac 400, I'd stick that in my truck right now.
We're going to do that. Actually, I got a customer of mine, Mike, I don't know, some of you guys might know Mike Rafferty. What we're doing is we're building him a 455 with Edelbrock heads, and he's going to have us install that into I want to say a 97 Chevy Silverado, and we're going to use all the factory fuel injection and stuff on it. So it's going to be port fuel injected, but we're yanking the LS engine out and put in a Pontiac 455 in there. So that'd be fun. I don't know what it's going to do, but we're going to find out.
Yep.
I had the cam ground for it and everything, and so it'll work with the computer, and it's got the LS firing order, and so we're going to see.
Interesting.
Yep. So you guys will see videos on that too.
Philip Thurston, I'd like to see 75 cc's on a good 400 good street engine.
Yeah, I like 400 cubic inch Pontiac engines, man. I tell you what, look at Luke's car. Look at how your truck ran.
Yeah.
You know, those are really good running engines.
That's why I'm hell bent on getting this thing done. I got talked out of it. I'm not going to put a roll cage in it, so I got to stay below that. I might make it a little bit.
Out of that?
My wife.
Well, you make it so you can get it in and out easier.
That's what I told her, but she says not easy.
Well, what you do is you take the sidebars and you make them removable. That way on the street, you can take them out. And you can still get in and out of the car. And then whenever you go to the racetrack, you put them back in the car and you go. That's what I would do. Because all it is a hitch pin on the front, and then it latches in the back.
Right.
You know. Well, you see how our Le Mans is.
No, I trust me.
So make it so it's removable. The only bad thing about it is, though, you guys have to wear helmets when you drive around the street. You can get one of them half helmets like they use on a motorcycle.
Yeah, you hear that, babe? You have to wear a helmet. When we drive,
well, we'll get her one with a mohawk, and it'll be pink. She likes pink.
When we go get ice cream, we have to wear a helmet.
If you ride a motorcycle, you got to ride a helmet or wear a helmet.
She will not ride in the car.
Oh, come on, Jaime. It'll be cool. You will be the talk of the town.
Yeah, that's what she doesn't want.
No, I know my Jaime. She likes being talk of the town.
She likes it, but she'll say she doesn't.
Uh-huh. Well, then she'll be in there. I mean, look, she got pink hair on there.
I know.
You need to get her on your podcast or on your channel.
She won't do it. She runs away from the camera.
Oh, man. Well, chase her around with the camera.
Phil Thurston, or have her drive her own car.
Yeah. Drive. What is that? She calls it Roxy.
Oh, yeah, Roxy, or Equinox.
Yep.
And then the new intake chamber looks really soft and not tight.
The new intake, what now?
Chamber.
The new combustion chamber?
He said the new intake chamber looks really soft and not tight. Walt Muka.
He must be talking about combustion chamber. And it's basically my Ram Air 5 chamber, which works really, really well. So my Ram Air 5 heads, I don't know what these are going to like, but my Ram Air 5 head likes between 32 and 35 degrees total timing.
And then John Monin says when the V6 blows in his 2003 Silverado, he has a spare 350 Pontiac just waiting to put in it.
There you go, man. My son used to have a C10 with the Pontiac, the Pontiac 400 he's putting in this car.
Yep. And B&R Racing said they should have offered a true Pontiac V8 in a new GM truck. That would be cool.
That would be cool. The GMCs, you know what? Bring back the Pontiac V8.
And then Old School Twist said if it's got the 4L60 03 in that truck with the 455, its life expectancy will be about 50 feet.
Well, I think he's going to upgrade to a 4L80. He's not going to leave the 4L60 or 65 in it, I can tell you that.
And then John Monin says, I'm never rebuilding a 4L60E again, turbo 350 or 400 transfer me.
Yeah, I agree. Well, the 4L60 wasn't nothing more than an electric 700 R4. And 700 R4s, they won't hold up to a small block Chevy. So what is it going to do behind a Pontiac engine?
Right. And then Philip Thurston, I think it's called a Recall-a-Knox.
Yeah.
Actually, knock on wood, her car runs really good. It's the 2.0 turbo. It doesn't have that 1.5 in it, so that's a huge difference. And that thing's peppy for what it is.
Yeah. The turbo's as big as my beer can.
It
but yeah.
is. I mean, it's a cute little thing.
Yeah. You could take it around, throw it at each other. And
Yeah, to play catch with it.
Yeah.
Joe Bass said, no roll bar, you will be limited to 1150 quarter. Bullshit on that. I agree. I completely agree.
Right?
I said I want to run 9s or nothing at all. And the way I had it planned out, this thing could easily run 9s.
Oh, it'll run 9s. If that's what you want to run, it'll run 9s.
Because I am going to mini tub it too.
You got to have at least 11 inches of rubber under the back of it.
Well, supposedly a 275/60 will fit on the back of these things.
Well, that ain't big enough.
Well, that's 10-inch wide.
You need a 315/50.
Well, that's why I need a mini tub it.
Or a 325/50. I don't remember which one's about 27 inches tall.
315/50.
The 50 series is definitely the wider tire, though.
I think it's a 315/50. I used to have it written down because that's why I wanted it on my truck. B&R Racing said, is softening combustion chambers a good idea for a Pontiac V8 on boost?
Oh, yeah. We do that for all our boosted applications.
And then Phil Thursday says his bike has a 1.8.
Yeah, you're right. That's a Goldwing, I think it is. So it's got the 6-cylinder on it.
And then, yeah, the dualies on the Mustang is the internet rage this week. Yeah, I seen that. Cletus and then someone else, they built dually rear end and they put slicks on it.
Cool.
And they put
I think I've seen a picture of that. It's got dual slicks on each side. I like that. That's a pretty cool idea.
If you can't hook with that, you ain't trying.
Well, you know what? Back in the day, and I don't know if John Dornbush is on, but Phil might remember this too. I think that Tommy Ivo, or Evo, however they said his name, I think he had dual slicks on the back of his car and on the front. I think he had a 4-wheel drive dragster, but he had dual slicks on the back and singles on the front. Yeah, and smoked all 6 of them. Because it was a twin-engine Pontiac dragster with blowers, I think.
They must have been skinny.
We need to build something like that. That's what we need. We'll put a Ram Air 4 up front and a Ram Air 5 in the back with dual slicks on the back of it. It don't need to be 4-wheel drive. I'm not driving it, but I'll build it.
I'll drive it.
Okay.
I ain't scared. It'll be fun until it ain't.
Yeah.
Tommy Evo had 4-engine 4-wheel drive.
Okay, so it might have been 4 engines.
And then Art Armfonds did the same with his Green Monster Allison V12.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then Walt Muka, does the plug sit in the center of the chamber or facing the exhaust valve to eliminate wet flow issues?
It's close to the exhaust valve and it's close to the center of the chamber too. So it's both. I'm trying to make. I got a happy compromise there. And that's why it doesn't require as much timing too. Whenever the valve or the spark plug's in direct flow of the fuel path, it washes out and you have to run more timing. So if you put the valve or the spark plug in the right location, you don't have to run a lot of timing.
And then Philip Third said Tommy used 4 nailhead Buicks.
I thought he had 4 Pontiac engines in that thing.
And then
TV Tommy Ivo.
And then DJ's grandma used to work for Arfons.
Yeah, because they're right around the corner from us. They're on the same road your mom where school is. She teaches. Yeah. Yep, Pickle Road. And Tim Arfons might still be there.
I know someone is.
Yeah, because they still got all them jet engines sitting around. They got a little junkyard of jet engines.
Yep.
I didn't see any Allison engines there, though, but they got a lot of jet engines sitting around.
I did see one time, must have been one of the tractor pulling ones that he had. and because I just got my license and I was driving by and he had it sitting on like a stand that was on a trailer in the backyard.
Well, he builds tractors for guys to pull with, so.
Could have been one from one of them too.
Yeah, but the other thing is too, his son, Tim, I think is his name. He was crazy. He had all kinds of cool shit. They had a go-kart with a jet engine on it.
Yeah, that cool dragster they used to race at Quaker for a while.
I don't remember that.
And that was powered the wheels and everything with it.
Well, they had was it the Green Mamba or the Green Monster, or I think it was Green Monster. Anyhow, he sat right in the front. How crazy is that? You know what? I tell everybody whenever I'm flying, I don't want to be in the front seat. You know why? Because I've never, ever, ever heard of an airplane running into a mountain backwards.
Yeah, but
so, if you're in the front seat, you're gonna. I mean, it's lights out immediately.
Perfect. Because when you're in the back, now you're gonna feel all that.
Yeah, you're
smush,
gonna
smush, smush, smush. The Green Monster was in the news when John Monan was a kid. Eddie Hall had a twin-engine Pontiac dragster.
Yep, he did. I remember that.
And then B&R Racing said, well, the new heads, D-Port and Roundport's going to have the same locations as factory Ram Air 4, going straight or angled plugs.
They're going to be angled plugs, so that's the only going to be the only giveaway for a discerning Pontiac guy that knows. But now this is a huge but. Pontiac actually had experimental heads, and I've had them in my shop, so I know it's not fallacy. They had angled plugged Ram Air 4 heads, but they actually were 455 HO heads. And they didn't have any casting numbers on them. They looked, but you could tell that was what it was, a Ram Air 4 or 455 HO head, but it had angled spark plugs in it. And I got a customer that he had 2 sets of those heads. I don't know where he got them from. I don't know how he got them, but he had them.
And Philip III said he used to see Art Arfons all the time with the Green Mamba with Broadway Bob Metzer's Great Lakes Dragway.
Yeah.
And then he also said the new phone doesn't know how to write. And Mark Marshall said Doyle's all-wheel drive 911 ran 9.8 and a quarter on 100 octane with boost and a special tune. And that's it.
Huh.
Anyone know how to delete a message?
Why? What happened?
I don't know.
Who said that?
Mark Marshall.
Oh. But so apparently, whatever came out didn't come out right, and he's got to retype it.
Oh, he retracted it.
Oh, okay.
DJ said he thinks he has a picture with Art and Bob.
Yeah, Art's gone now. So you know what? Art Arfons was such a big character in our neck of the woods because he lived literally in Akron. I had a Chevelle that I bought from a guy in Akron, and I didn't know when I bought this car. I bought a '66 Chevelle. It was a 396 big block 4-speed car, SS, Super Sport Chevelle. And anyhow, the car was totally rusted away. The floor pans were gone. The trunk was completely gone. You could see the ground. The gas tank was out of the car. No interior in it, but it still had the big block in it, had a 4-speed and a 12-bolt in it. But anyhow, I started digging through the glove box, and lo and behold, Art Arfons was the original owner of that car. And then I did some research on it and found out that Burt Greenwald Chevrolet, which was a big Chevrolet dealer, performance dealership here in Akron, because of promotion, gave the car to Art Arfons back in 1966, and it was one of the first 360 horse, whatever the solid lifter cam 396s were in '66. Art Arfons had one. That was the car. And this car was junk. I mean, it was junk. I bought it for the engine and transmission till I found out what it was. I put that thing on eBay and I told everybody what it was. And some guy in New York bought that car and he gave me about, I'm not going to say what the number was, but he gave me like 10 times what I paid for that car.
So probably about $1,000. BNR Racing said, how do you know where to put a spark plug on prototype heads, Don? Computer simulations or have built a running prototype and test?
Actually, it's from just experience of all the different cylinder heads I've been exposed to over the years and what we know works and what doesn't work. And really, there's not, you know what, there's not an exact science to that. Even if you have two identical combustion chambers, we'll say, okay? If the port shape changes on my Tiger head, because I angled the floor on the intake port, which helps with velocity or swirl in the chamber, which I know now I don't do that, although it does work. It works really, really well, and my Tiger head works really, really well. But you can have an identical chamber in the Ram Air 5 head, and you can have it as you do in the Tiger head, and because of the swirl difference, spark plug location has to change. So there isn't really there is not a science for that. You have to, like you were suggesting, you got to experiment and find out where it goes. But because of the things that I've been exposed to, because I've seen the Australian heads I was telling you about, I've seen a lot of the Pro Line stuff, I've seen a lot of AFR and Brodix, and I mean, I've just seen I've been exposed to a lot of cylinder heads over the years. I've been in business 45 years. And I'm always into this stuff. I mean, it's what I do. I mean, I love this stuff. I eat, sleep, and drink it, so I'm constantly looking at all this stuff and trying to figure out in my brain how it works. But so what I did was I come up with, because of the port shape and combustion chamber shape, I've picked the location off of that. And it may not be ideal. I don't know. But, you know, I got a little bit of leeway I can play with back and forth, but not a lot. If I have to change it much, I'm going to have to change the water jacket in the head.
Philip Third said, we had a long Chevrolet in Chicagoland until they got busted. And they say that was supposed to be busted by the FBI for mob money laundering.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that happened a lot back in the 70s and 80s.
And then John Mullen said, I wish you still had that VIN tag and original engine.
I do. I sold that car I bought and sold back in the 90s. I mean, it was a long, long time ago. It was a gold car, black interior. I'll never forget it. And the guy that bought it, he didn't want the frame because it was rusted away, and he didn't want the body. And he wanted me to whack the firewall off and put the engine and transmission rear end and the firewall on a big crate and send it to him, and I wouldn't do it. I made him come get the whole car. I wasn't gonna participate.
And then BNR Racing says, is it true that V8 factory heads have swirl? I heard real old timers state that.
The what is it now?
The true Pontiac V8 factory heads have swirl.
Actually, Pontiac, they were. You know, I hate bragging about them because I'm a Pontiac guy. And if you're a Mopar guy, they brag about Mopars, and if you're a Ford guy, you brag about Fords. But Pontiac Motor Division had their shit together. They were notching the cylinder walls for the valve clearance and flow around the valve. They machined their combustion chambers. The only thing that I didn't like was where they located the spark plug in the combustion chamber. But you know what? It worked. It didn't. I mean. My Ram Air 4 factory heads that we're running on the Le Mans, we only ran, I mean, we started out, what, 26 or 27 degrees timing?
26, yeah.
And then when we got the 1070 out of it, we bumped it up to 28. And so it didn't want a lot of timing. And the spark plug, in my opinion, is in the wrong place, but it works. And it's because of the way that the Pontiac Motor Division kind of scalloped out their combustion chamber, which actually what Smokey Unick used to tell me, and he's a friend of mine. Unfortunately, poor Smokey passed away a few years ago. But anyhow, he said that the best running cylinder heads are going to be the ones that you can create an absolute perfect cone around the valve. So if you look on your flow bench and you put smoke in the flow bench and you run that and you turn your machine on and you introduce that smoke, you can see it come around the valve. And ports that are all screwed up, you might see it kind of fluttering over here and a little bit over here, and it doesn't have a perfect cone. When you get the port shape right and your valve job right, it's going to have a perfect cone around that valve. And when you do, then you're going to have a real strong running engine. And so Pontiac, because they scalloped out that chamber around that valve, it kind of helps that. It really makes it better.
What entry intake chamber angle is used in the front of the intake valve? 45 seat angle?
Run that by me again.
What entry intake chamber angle is used in the front of the intake valve? 45 seat angle?
That I'm not sure what he's asking me. And describe that again to me in a different context, because I don't know that I'm following you on that.
And then
The valve seat angle is 45 degrees, but I'm not sure what you mean.
Then BNR said, I know Chevy, Ford, and Mopar cylinder head porters hate swirl, kills port velocity, and CFM.
Yeah, yep. You don't want swirl. Used to be we thought that, and actually for fuel economy you do. A low RPM engine you want swirl, but for a high-end, high RPM engine that you're trying to build horsepower, you want tumble. You don't want swirl. There's a big difference. And we can go over that one night too if you guys want.
Randy French wants to know, did you hear anything on the ram air manifolds?
No, I did not. I think that the Sun's going to carry the torch on that. I was afraid nobody was going to carry the torch, so I was willing to step up, buy the tooling, and continue making those exhaust manifolds. But I believe that the owners, the guy that started Ram Air Restoration, I think his son's going to take over. At least that's what I gathered from all the people that replied to me. I haven't heard anything from the family or anything to confirm that. It's just that's what I was told.
And then Philip Third said his 350 was clearance for bigger valves in the cylinders.
Oh yeah, you had to on those.
And then Walt Muka wants to know, do you have the swirl numbers also at each lift?
No. Yeah, so you're asking a lot of technical questions that I haven't got answers for yet. And honestly, you know what, to be honest with you, it really isn't going to matter that much. What we are going to do is we're going to do a smoke test so I can look and see what the pattern looks like inside the combustion chamber and everything. I am more concerned with making sure that the cross-sectional area has tapered all the way to the valve. The valve area has the proper taper and bell shape to create velocity. Those are the kind of things I'm more concerned with. I really don't care about the feet per second at different lifts or anything like that, because you think about how quick a valve opens and closes. We're not racing flow benches, we're racing engines, and I'm not discounting what you're talking about, because it's all data that we need to know. But you sometimes can get so damn technical on all this stuff that it's going to lead you down a path that ends up taking you in the wrong direction. And I've done that. I've actually done that, and I'm talking from experience and why I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, sometimes that data is required and we need to know it for certain things. But for what I'm doing with this project, it's, I've got enough. What it is I've got enough experience doing it with other stuff, with Winsler heads and the Edelbrock heads and the other, my competitors' heads and my heads and factory heads and everything. You can't, an engineer can't beat experience. You have to, that's why GM right now and Ford and Chrysler, I believe, they're not looking for, people that are just strictly engineers. They want problem solvers that can be engineers. And the reason that they're looking for that is because they want somebody that's got life experience that says, you know what, I've seen this. I know that this is what textbook tells you it's going to do. But I can tell you right now, from what I've seen and the way we did it, this is what happened. And that's kind of where I'm at with this head. So I'm not really, I'm not going to try to get that technical on it. I'm going to develop it. And who knows what's going to happen. I might change it. I don't know yet. But right now, the port that I've developed and the combustion chamber shape that I've developed, I know works at certain situations, and that's what I'm going to start with right now.
And then he also asked entry angle of the intake in front of the seat angle.
So I think what he's talking about is the long turn and the short turn bowl area into the valve seat. So to best explain it to you, it's like a soup bowl upside down. All right, and the valve's stuck up in that soup bowl. That's the best way I can describe it.
And he said that he used a swirl meter.
You can do that.
Swirl is mixture motion into the chamber cylinder.
And we don't want swirl. I'm not doing this head for swirl. I'm doing this more for tumble. If I want to make the horsepower numbers I want to make with it, I have to do tumble, not swirl.
And then B&R Racing said, when did Ram Air Restoration stop production? They made 3-inch exhaust outlets for a while for fast drag racing.
They did, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to continue. I was going to do 2.5 and 3-inch. The 2 1/4-inch stuff, I think there's a Chinese company out there doing them now, and so I'm not going to compete in that market. So, you know, if somebody wants a stock one, they can go to that Chinese company. I don't care. What I'm interested in is I want the guys that want to make power. And so a trend that I am seeing, guys, and I talk to guys every day about this, is that, you know what, the old guys that wanted the concourse restored 100% cars, they're dying off. And those cars are not going to have any value in a few years. The things that everybody wants right now is they want modern technology and they want modern amenities in these old school looking cars. So they want engines that are making 600 NA horsepower or 1,000 with an LSA supercharger. They want 4-wheel disc brakes. They want 5-speed transmissions or overdrive automatics. They want tinted glass, and they want 18-inch rims, and they want slotted rotors and all that kind of stuff. Now, obviously, that costs money, and it adds value to the car. But the thing of it is, that's what I'm seeing is going on right now. And the days of the 100% concourse, 70 GTO Judge, those are starting to go away. And there's still going to be a place for them. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, you're going to spend the same amount of money doing a concourse restoration as you are going to build a resto mod. So if you build a 100% concourse restored 70 GTO Judge, unless it's a Ram Air 4 car, it's a Ram Air 3 car, you're going to be lucky to break $100,000 with that car if you try to sell it. You build the same car as a resto mod with the, and it's a 70 Judge, the same car, you can get $200,000 out of that car, and it really isn't, I mean, it's going to cost you the same amount of money to build the car. So which direction would you go?
And then John Monin says, I have enough life experience to know that being an engineer for an automotive company sucks.
Yeah. Right on, brother. And I agree with that 100%.
All right, guys. Well, it's actually 7:30.
Wow.
5. So.
Wow. So we had fun tonight.
Yeah.
We were just bullshitting, and I'm glad everybody's interacting. That's perfect. That's
Yep.
what we want. So, yeah. We might have to end up starting the show sooner, or we have to end it later. I don't know, but sucks in Ohio. It's dark already.
Yep. Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna wrap it up, and
Yep.
I had fun.
Yeah, for sure. Make sure and go check out my son's YouTube channel and subscribe if you haven't already. And thank you guys for subscribing to our channel, and make sure you share both our channels. We might, you know what, if we keep going, we might get our 10,000 on this channel this year.
Yep.
Because we're what, 50,
Almost
5,600?
57.
Yeah, and that went up a lot in the last just month.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
So thank you guys. We appreciate all that, and please share and tell your friends so that they can come hang out with us every Wednesday night. And I'm going to keep sharing shorts, and hopefully you guys like what you see.
Yep.
I mean, if you do, you'll come back. If you're not, then you know what? I'll go. I'll quit and I'll go drink beer.
That's right. Oh, the camera just quit, so it's kicking us out.
Oh boy!
All right, guys. Well, stay safe, and we'll see y'all next week.
All right. Good night.